Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for another stream on the channel. And tonight's chat is about a turnaround under Gary Rowett with a question mark as we chat about Middlesbrough game last night and a 1-1 draw at the Riverside. We also look at what Gary Rowett's changed in a short space of time as this team seems to be up for the fight more than ever. What a change. Dan, how are we?
Not too bad.
Good. Everyone hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. It helps out massively. If you're watching this on playback, get involved. Lots still to do, in my opinion. I'm certainly not getting carried away with 2 draws. We need wins, and our attack threat simply isn't good enough, but much better defensively, though.
Yeah, you can't argue with that too much. And yeah, again, like you say, there is still a long way to go. But at the end of the day, it's the work ethic that is the most noticeable thing so far over the last, game and a half, really. Like I say, we'll write off the first half against Stoke, where it wasn't great, and we were up to our old tricks of conceding within the first 5 minutes of a game, and then not being very disciplined and not sort of working together particularly well. But really, I would even go as far as saying after 25-30 minutes of that first Stoke game, then there was a significant improvement, and then certainly from the second half onwards.
We looked organised and committed. Amazing change in a week under Rowett. Still a clown show at the back. Well, we've made these bloody mistakes all season. I don't think we could be very surprised with Leicester City. There's always a bozo moment, should we call it, as Dan likes to say. It looks promising, not too bad. I think we might win on the weekend. Dan, so Gary Rowett's been in charge now over a week. He's come in and, he's changed it quite a bit. I think you look at the Stoke second half, a lot more commitment, a lot more fight, a lot more heart. And then we look forward to them taking them positives into the second half against Borough. A tough task at the Riverside with what was going to be proclaimed last night before the game. A Middlesbrough side that you could say they've hit cold feet, really, losing to Coventry and drawing to Oxford. Obviously, they've still got a lot of good players, haven't they, like Hayden Hackney and that, who's really pivotal to them. And let's talk about the Middlesbrough game. Yeah. What a point. A massive point. Everyone wrote us off before the game and said, we're going to get hammered here, aren't we? We're going to we take a fighting performance if we can get it. But then Leicester City, like you said, Dan, in the preview, we turn up against the teams that are doing well in the league. And last night, we were well up for it from minute one.
Yeah, we certainly had to be. And again, it is something to point out as well. Middlesbrough don't drop many points at home either. They've only lost to Coventry, and they've only drawn a couple of other games before ours. So, their home form is very, very good. Certainly in comparison to what ours is. But, like as we said, they do tend to turn up against these sides where they know that they've got to work that bit harder. Otherwise, they will get embarrassed. They don't. Although, it's a shame they forget about this, without being too disrespectful, the lesser sides in this league who can still embarrass them if they don't turn up. So, But yeah, there's not much you can complain to last night, really, other than, like I say, the odd usual mishap that we seem to fucking put on ourselves by doing silly things and by the sounds of it, not sticking to Rowett's game plan. You know, he seemed to take that upon himself to try and play a blind pass into Macassa even, off his own back, and it backfired badly. But we'll let him off. He did score a header. That was decent. So
let's revert it back to the opening minutes of the game. Borough had the free kick. Begovic saved it. Clibbo, welcome. How are we?
I'm all right.
Right, Clibbo. Leicester, we didn't know they were going to go toe-to-toe with Middlesbrough last night, but they did. And quite a lot of teams have not really done that to Borough this season, have they? Gone toe-to-toe with them and really gave them a game. Made them think having a second plan rather than plan A working. Let's talk about the free kick. I talked to me about Macassa. What a ball, Clibbo. He's assisting, and he looks like a real gem, Clibbo, Macassa.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have pulled a gem out, and I think Man City will benefit greatly from this loan. But if we can benefit in the short term, fantastic. He's got everything there. I mean, I think the odd thing he does is a little bit naive, but he's 18 years of age, and you can forgive it, because for me, I mean, I nearly got out of my seat last night, and given the state of my back, that was quite impressive.
Hey, we don't want you in for another groin up too soon.
Oh Christ, I know. So I mean, I've got not a bad word to say against the guy. And he seems to lead by example as well, which is, you know, he's far more mature than his years suggest. But yeah, I think he's somebody we've got to keep fit. And despite his being, what is he, 18? I think we've got to play him all the time. The problem I've got is it's that the other lads in the team that are the experienced pros, in terms of football brain, they're not on the same levels with him. I mean, there was the little flick back that set up Winks. So obviously Winks was on that wavelength, but the team isn't generally. And I think that's sometimes where, you know, where there's a disconnect and problems.
To be fair to him, I think the only one who does seem to be on a similar wavelength, and it might surprise you, is Daka. Daka is actually making runs, and somebody's now finding him.
Yes, well, this is what I said. I've said this many times before, and I kind of shut up about it in the end because people were just not having it. But what we used to accuse Daka of was running around at the top, just running around. Yeah. What he's trying to do is doing what is natural to him and try and find a space. Yeah. But people were not passing to him in that system. And then we see one pass from Macassa, and he scores a Vardy-esque kind of goal. Uses his pace, gets in the space, and finishes with aplomb. So, you know, I think that we keep Daka up top to the end of the season.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you saw the drop.
I'll be honest. At least he actually stays in his position and actually runs the line and actually puts teams under pressure. There were one play last night before they'd scored where Daka were putting the defender under pressure and he didn't want it. He kept trying to run away from Daka. Daka was like, well, I'm staying stuck in me. Like, you're losing that ball last night.
Put Ayling under pressure, which Daka has always done. It's just unfortunate that sometimes when he gets a block in or he nicks the ball back off of him, his next touch is horrendous. So it never comes off for him. He puts all the hard work in and then never has the finesse to sort of finish it off. But
he needs a run of games. And I think personally, he needs to, like, let's just say you're the striker to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Just take some of that pressure off him.
To be fair, since really Marty's gone and Kingy's come in, Daka has been the main man up top. He's played more often than not.
Yeah, he looks a little bit less lightweight than he had done previously as well. He's not falling over quite as much.
Yeah.
Unlike his counterpart, I might add.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the goal itself, great cross. I spoke to a lad in front of me last night, and I said, last time I seen Caleb Bacoli score from an header was Brighton away last season.
Yeah,
I said, if we can reenact that from this free kick, I said, I'm all for it. And then little did I know Caleb Bacoli at the back post would be on it, and he scored. So, but then you look at it, and afterwards, you could see the real fight in that team after we'd scored. You know, we were fighting for everything. We were blocking everything that Borough put in. I think Begovic made another save. But then you could see a real oomph. Macassa carried the ball from the halfway line, ran all the way through the Borough midfield, and then it ended up bringing him down and getting a yellow card. But then it looked like there were a lot more commitment. Bobby Reid were putting in a shift. Daka were running the line up the front, putting the pressure on. Mavididi was doing a lot more than I thought he did against Stoke. But you can sort of see in a short term of what Gary Rowett wants to bring to this team. I thought in that first half, it was a proper Gary Rowett sort of performance in the way he wants these teams to set up, in how he wants them to have a go at these teams.
Yeah. I mean, he very, very much keeps things to the basics for him, which has certainly helped out a couple of players. And it's like what I've said on here many a time is let workers work and let the players play. And the workers go and get the ball back and give the ball to the players. You know, unfortunately, the odd time they do forget that, but it's made it a lot more simpler for those that can't play when you're asking them to do something that's out of their level. You know, if you're just saying, win us the ball back, give it to the nearest man who can play, it makes it so much easier for them. And then it allows those that can do it to stand out and take that bit more responsibility on and get us doing the right things.
Clibbo, what's your thoughts on what Paul said here? Gary Rowett manages these players, doesn't bully them, looks like he's got his head screwed on. You've got to think with Gary Rowett, Clibbo, he's got huge experience in the Championship. He's been around this league a lot of the time and knows how to handle these current situations. He did it at Oxford last season where it looked like time were really against them and they looked down in the dumps, but he went in there, picked them up and kept them up. What's your sort of thoughts, Clibbo, and how he's really changed that real mentality in the team? Because they look far more up for it than they ever have this season.
Yeah, I am impressed by it. I think that's what people's expectations were of it. But I'm particularly impressed because I don't think Gary Rowett's ever encountered a situation like this club is at the moment. It's full of players on ridiculous wages, people who've quite often just took the piss, not been up for the fight, and it's a big club in terms of what he's managed before. But he's come in with the similar philosophies. Man management is the key thing here for me. He's took players that could be the class pain in the arse, if you want to put it that way, and he said, I'm not having it. And if you want to play for this club, here's what we're doing. And they've took it on board. I think the previous managers have not been able to do that for whatever reason. I don't think Marty really ever had that kind of respect. I think it does help that he's a former player. He's a defender. We're defensively weak. He's brought Callum Davidson in, who's, all right, he wasn't a brilliant player, but he was a solid player. We all kind of got behind Callum Davidson when he had his jaw broke. So there is an affinity with the guys, and I think there's a 10% thing there that helps.
Yeah, a good test for Rowett at this, like the players or not, it's the best squad he's had. That's what I'm saying. He's working with a lot more better players. The players play real football right now. That's what I'm saying. let me be a little negative. And Dan, I'm going to come to you with this one. Mm-hmm. Caleb Bloody Akoli, he's gone from hero to 0 in the first half. I don't understand what he's doing. I don't understand where Casper the Ghost is at this point, because he certainly wasn't in the position that Caleb Akoli had seen him in. Gary Rowett was fuming with that pass, and he likes his teams to go long. He don't like doing short passes to building the play. He wants the players to go direct from defence. He's a manager who likes to play that way. Caleb Akoli, what does he do? Comes out with the ball, sprays the pass short, and Leicester get counter-attacked, and Hayden Hackney plays that ball through. They put it back to Riley McGree, and Borough scored just before half-time, which was a real letdown in the first half. I thought that was my only real negative about the first half, that we go and make a bloody bozo moment in ourselves and shoot ourselves in the foot with silly decisions like that.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, I think there was a little bout of overconfidence that came from him there, because he was seeing a lot of the ball. I mean, like, when back at the beginning of the season and in pre-season, and everybody wanted this duo as our centre halves, we were all assuming that Akoli would be the ball winner and Nelson would be the ball player. And it's kind of not really sort of turning out that way. And I think Akoli just had a little bit of, like I say, a little bit of overconfidence in how we were playing at that time, and how Macassa is also playing. Thought he could play a blind pass into him, and he'd basically bail him out regardless. It didn't quite work out like that. And again, it's like what I said to you before we came on as well. It's clear what Rowett's plan is, and he's quite vocal about it, because he said he wants everything to go longer. So once your team is set up that way, that's also, what caught everybody out as well. I mean, like I say, me personally, like what I said to you before, Jack, is yes, he messed up, gave the ball away, but there was still enough time, and there was still enough that went on to have prevented them still from scoring. They did usher him all the way to the byline, and he's cut it back for the lad to finish. The only thing, like I say again, the only bit that I will let them off with is that the fact that they'd all pushed up on the accounts of they're expecting a long ball to go forward, and then to pick up the second ball once it's been knocked down by whomever, whether it's them defensively clearing it or us picking it up. So it just caught us a little bit on the back foot. But still, one yes, big mistake because it cost us a goal. But overall, I wouldn't want to punish him too much, because 90% of his game was pretty good last night, even with his bash on the head.
Well, they were dominant, weren't they? Out of possession, Leicester, and dealing with Middlesbrough. And you know what Borough's like when they get that ball. And I always thought last night, Dan, if you watch Middlesbrough Clibo as well, everything goes through Hayden Hackney. Everything just goes through him, the drive, the pass. That's the way Middlesbrough play. Hayden Hackney's the main man. That's where every ball needs to go for them to get everything forward. And if you can stop him, I think you've got more of a chance of actually dealing with it a lot better in the game. It helps sort of us set up a lot more. If we can push them wider and get men out and then sort of mark Hayden Hackney, they've got nothing to go back to. And this is why I revert back to the second half, that everything Hayden Hackney was doing, Harry Winks and Oliver Skipp was there to say, hold on a minute, well, you ain't passing it past us. We ain't getting through us that easily.
I think Oliver Skipp subdued Hackney quite well, to be fair to him.
Yeah, I agree. Oliver Skipp were bloody everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. Oliver Skipp last night, he were there. He were doing the yards, wasn't he? He's not the quickest, but like you said, Dan, by the time these players get the ball and they've got a time to think about a chance, Oliver Skipp just takes it from them. Clibbo, what was your thoughts on the second half? Obviously, Leicester had let Borough have a lot of the ball. It was about maybe a bit of the time backs to the wall performance in the end of really dealing with Borough and what they had to offer going forward. A lot of the balls were going in the box, which Leicester dealt with. But I think we upped it more in the fight second half, and we really had to dig deep at times. And I think if you'd have looked at us maybe before the Stoke game, we'd get beat quite easily doing that. But under Gary Rowett, they look more assured, more stronger and more disciplined, a lot more focused in that sort of element now.
Well, I have to say, my initial prediction was 1-1 before the game.
Same here. I got it, yeah.
After the first half, I did fear that they would overrun us.
They'd come back into the game, yeah.
Well, I just thought. I mean, I still think they were quite a lot better than us. And there's a comment in there: we should have won. I don't believe that at all. I don't think we deserve to win. No way. I thought they were much better attacking threat than us. They hadn't got their finishing boots on. But what I did like about the second half, which does give me some hope, is that we're not just sitting in a low block. You know, we've got one goal, let's defend it. You can actually see that Rowett is trying to find an out ball, use pace, and use counter attack. Now, my only issue with that is, and I lost a lot of respect for him yesterday, temporarily, when he brought Ayew on, because it killed all of that.
It slowed the game down,
and I found it disgusting, actually. And I swore at Rowett. So if you're watching, Rowett, I do want you as our manager, but
sorry, Gary,
you did a very stupid thing, and I was fucking fuming when he brought Ayew on, because he came on as a number 9 and pretty much stayed on the wing. He kept falling over, and at one point the Sky cameras were on him, and he was literally running like I was a month after my operation.
Yeah.
Well, and like he'd shit himself.
BBC Teesside, they were doing the commentary yesterday, and I'd look back at their video, their sort of highlights, what they had on the game, because they showed the highlights of the chances both teams had. And there was one sort of situation where the commentator turned around and said, "Oh, Jordan, are you?" Because the commentator said, "Oh, here comes Leicester's impact threat from the bench." And then the co-commentator went round and said, "Well, all's Jordan Ayew's done in this second half is just walk about and stroll around the pitch."
It slows the game up.
It slows the game down.
Negative. It's negative. I mean, listen, the guy has got a few nice little tricks here and there. And they're quite nice on the eye when they come off. But it always ends up going backwards, the final ball. Yeah. And he's started that progression maybe 10 yards past the halfway line and then ends up back with our left back. It's rubbish. Yeah. There's no economics in that.
No. The only defence I give Rowett for it is, one, I suppose he's got to see it for himself because he hasn't really had the chance to. And secondly, we didn't have a lot else because obviously Daka and Macassa have both run themselves into the ground and come off.
Yeah.
It's just, the only one I don't know is what's going on with this Richards lad, because we've not seen.
It's another one, isn't it? Well, this is going to be another Golding or another.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
It's going to be one of them, isn't it?
I think
it's a terrible
Richards out
terrible situation. I mean, if he's not ready to play, what our scouts should have seen that he's not ready to play. I mean, was he on the bench yesterday? I can't even remember.
Yeah, he was on the bench.
He was on the bench.
He's been on the bench for all 3 games since he's arrived, but I think he only came on for Kingy, didn't he, in 1 game for about 10 minutes.
He came on against Southampton, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think his first couple of touches were a little bit heavy in that, but he started to build into that.
Yeah.
I just think we need an element of surprise, and at the minute, we don't really have that.
You don't have that with Ayew, that's a fact. You know,
we need a proper. So when you bring Daka off, you need someone who's got that pace, that energy, that spark up front. Someone who's going to add that.
I'd have kept Daka on. I'd have kept him on.
I'd have kept him on.
Then we'll need him to
do what he needs to do.
You what? Sorry.
I said, but the problem is that we'll need him for Saturday.
Of course. Yeah,
listen, he's a professional footballer. He should be very fit, which he is. He hardly plays many games. I don't buy that.
Let's talk about one man in particular that second half, and this is what impressed me. Asmir Begovic. Let's talk about the goalkeeper. See, he was quite busy in that game yesterday, and he was quite busy in the first half, but even more busier in the second half. Let's talk about his triple save, Dan, in that second half.
Yeah.
That shows experience here because he stopped on the first time, and then they're like, well, for God's sake, we're going to get past him. And then they got the shot again, palmed it, and then they got the ball back in again, and then he saved it with his leg. Saved it with his hands, didn't he, the third time? And that shows real experience, didn't it, with Begovic in goal, that these big moments, he's kept us in games at times. You look at the one against Stoke this season at home, massive, crucial saves, and it was hands to the pump for Leicester's defence. The defence kept letting that ball come in, and then Begovic were like, I'm going to have to deal with this at some point. But Borough were frustrated at that point. So how did we not score? Begovic, he was up there for man of the match yesterday for me because I thought he was important.
Yeah, he has been important when he's come back in because I think he does just give that little bit of reassurance to those young lads that are in front of him that are, other than Ricky P, the other three, although Okoli's 24, he's quite an inexperienced player. Yeah. And, the same with Thomas as well, and it just gives him a little bit more stability there. He probably is a lot more vocal than what Jakob is, which will help as well, He was very good yesterday, to be fair to him. They all were, as again, even Okoli. Yes, okay, he had the moment where he's given the ball away, but over the 90 minutes, he was still pretty good.
It was solid.
Yeah,
I thought it was solid. Ricardo yesterday dealt with it quite well. The game, to say it's the second game in a week for him.
Yeah,
with Begovic. With Begovic, like where you sit, Jack. Obviously, when the keepers warm up, and they're all taking shots at the keepers. The one thing I noticed I noticed it at the Birmingham game, is when he was in the goal. And I remember seeing David James down here once, and we had a penalty against Liverpool. And David James just stood and did that. And I just went, we're not scoring this. He just looked like a monster in the goal. And that's the sort of thing with Begovic that I noticed. He's a big sod.
He makes himself big.
Yeah, he's just he's got long arms, big hands, and he just looks big. And I think there's a psychological thing attached to keepers where that's concerned.
Yeah.
He talks a lot more to his defence as well, though, when they're in front of him. He'll get mad at him. He did it yesterday when they kept letting that ball come in. He says, "Oh, well, what are you doing?"
You need that.
Like Barry says here about his distribution, it makes a real difference keeping the game moving.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a lot quicker with a ball moving it than what Jakob is, that's for sure. How many times have we said here he's too slow and lets them get back in and get set? Whereas if Begovic sees something, that's it, it's gone.
The funny thing is, Dan, was you at the Birmingham game?
Yeah,
because something else I noticed at the Birmingham game. I don't know where you sat but the three keepers, and at the time, obviously, we were playing that pissy football at the back with the keeper, and I saw the keepers all doing like keepy ups, passing to each other, and I don't think any of them got more than 3 keepy ups. I was like, what the let's stop this. Just kick the ball, save the ball. That's it.
Absolutely.
So that makes a real difference. I think Begovic was probably the best with his feet out of the 3 of them, to be fair.
Yeah, but even just seeing things quicker. I mean, it's like Saturday, without going back too far. Saturday, there was a moment where Mavididi had gone out wide, but he'd ran away with his back to goal to Begovic. But Begovic still threw it. It's gone over the top of his shoulder, and Mavididi's gone, "Oh, I'm away here." And by the time he's then travelled and gone all the way up the other end, we've won a corner from it. Now, how many times can we say that this season?
Agreed, Tony.
You know,
why make 10 passes when you can make one? It's economics.
Yeah, that's it.
So the game ended up 1-1. We're going to talk about individual players in a minute. I want you to pick out some players for me from last night. But these 700 Leicester fans travelled to Borough last night at full time. Leicester fans were loud from start to finish last night on that away end. And I'd lost my voice just being in there and obviously getting behind the team. But then at full time, they sang Gary Rowett's name. They applauded the players, and the players all came over as one. Gary Rowett sent them all over, and they all got applauded for their efforts yesterday. And this is what I say, Clibo, about the fans. The fans will get on side if you're doing the right things and you look like you're committed, you want to play for the badge and do everything and fight for this team going forward. The fans will be that 12th man. And this is what I always say about the fans. We're always going to be there, but give us something to show that you're actually bothered. And I think since Gary Rowett's come in, the Leicester fans are well up for it, and the players are maybe starting to build that connect back with the fans again.
Yeah, I mean, it depends which way you look at it. But for me, when you go in the ground, the order it traditionally goes in is you go in the ground before kickoff, blow the whistle, and the fans are like, "Come on!" Geeing the players up. The players then have to respond, and then we respond. So it starts with the fans, but ultimately, it's got to be the players that keep that going. You can't just keep cheering shit, can you?
Well, no, you don't. You don't bloody do that, do you? You don't bloody.
It's insanity.
They're bloody losing and getting battered, and the thing that they're not bothered. You've got to be given something by the players back, and this is what I feel now, that they are really building that. When they can hear the fans from the away end or the home, it gives them that little kick up the arse, like, you know what, we can do something here. And they proved it against Stoke in the second half, that if they can get up for it, the fans are going to push them all the way, and they did last night in the same vocal. And let's talk about this fight under Gary Rowett. A big mentality switch. He's been in the job about a week. Talk to me how the mentality's changed for these players, because he's had a lot more time now to work with them over these extra days since Stoke away. How much do you think he's really changed in the dynamic of things now with how these players are? Because they looked a lot more committed, a lot more improvement in the fight last night against Borough, which maybe a shocked Middlesbrough a bit, like, well, Leicester ain't going to be rolled over here. We're going to be up for a fight tonight. And we gave you everything in that game, and I think that's really down to the manager, and I think that's where the credit's got to be. But then the players on the pitch deserve that credit as well, every single one of them, for putting that shift in.
Yeah, of course. That's it. They do obviously go hand in hand. Yes, the manager gives them the guidance and the push to do what he needs them to do, but it is up to them to then carry it out, which they have done pretty well, to be fair to them. It is a noticeable difference. What was it? Was it the Oxford game where the stats come up where we're 21st for running, 21st for pressing, 21st? We were bottom pretty much for everything. And obviously he's clearly said,
as a man manager,
this can't go on. That's not good enough. You can't do that, because you can clearly see that. And again, I still believe the reintroduction of Daka pressing constantly. When you see one person do it and continue to do it, you then start feeling guilty when you hang him out to dry and go, well, I need to do more. And that infectious behaviour then goes throughout the team. And the other thing I noticed last night with Rowett is that he doesn't shut up. he's constantly on them. Constantly on them.
Yeah.
Even when he was sat down in between Kingy and Callum, he was still chuntering away about stuff. And then within 30 seconds, he was back up on his feet and telling them to push up again.
And then he pulled him over when Caleb Okoli got injured. And he calls them individually as players. You know, he wants the best for his team. And this is what he brought, and this is what he said he wanted to bring. That he needed that fight in the team.
Yeah,
for the players to build into what he wants.
If you've got somebody driving that and pushing that from the sidelines, you have to respond. Because if you don't, you get noticed, and then you'll be sat at home watching it on the telly. And some of these ain't going to want that. We saw that with Monga, bless him. You know, didn't do enough on Saturday, was left out, and didn't even get on. And I think, well, I'd like to hope the same will happen with Ayew now. Shown he's not interested, he's not up for it. So you can sit at home and watch it.
Mid-March, JJ upload about JJ. I believe he is on doing like training on the grass, which it can take time. You don't want to rush him back and then he bloody out for even longer next time. So they've got to take care of it.
Well, you say that, Jack, but he did hint after the game last night that he expects one more to be back Saturday.
And who's that going to? Well, obviously Christensen's out for the rest of the season. Is he confirmed?
That's it. And it ain't going to be Ramsey, is it?
Well,
it's not Vestergaard.
No.
I think it could be Jordan. It will be Jordan James because Vestergaard's going to be out for a few more weeks, ain't he, with his injury?
Yeah. Well, it's one of two. It's one of two. Lascelles.
It's Lascelles or James.
I think it'll be Lascelles.
Which one would you prefer?
Well, I mean, I think that's a pretty obvious question, but I mean, just going back to your point about Rowett, actually,
go on.
The difference between someone like Rowett and like a Maresca is you could say, well, let's just say a better version of Maresca. You didn't see Maresca jumping around because managers like that focus solely on positioning and tactics and the intricacies. Gary Rowett knows where he is. He knows his level. He knows what he's good at. What he's good at is motivating players and getting hard work from them. That's why you see him animated, because he's using the skills to the best of his abilities. And I think for quite some time now, this squad has needed that kind of character as opposed to somebody who's just going to sit there observing and then doing a spreadsheet at the end.
I'm going to ask you about Jordan James in a minute, actually. After we've discussed every player from last night, and we're going to do man of the match now. Talk to me. Who would you have gave man of the match to? See, I gave it Oliver Skipp because I thought he was phenomenal last night. He were everywhere on that pitch, and I thought he fully deserved man of the match, in my opinion. Obviously, a lot of people had different names in there. Winks, Macassa. Someone even said Begovic. So where was you two last night in your man of the matches? Have you both got different players in mind? What do you reckon, Dan? We'll start with you.
Mine was Macassa. But
okay.
It's a hair's breadth between the two of them, and even Winks in there, really, because they did work extremely hard. They had a lot to do to contain Middlesbrough's midfield, because that's what they do. Everything went through the middle. That's what, they don't have a lot out wide, really, which sort of helped them, I think, a fair bit, because they didn't have too much to think about, as in crosses coming in the box all the time. But yeah, those two. But for me, it was just Macassa's finesse that he has, his little bit of quality in the final third, the passes he can find. Yet another assist from him. He just edges it for me.
Clibbo?
Right. I'm going to make this brief. My explanations.
Okay.
I agree with Dan. There was a lot to choose from. I'm going to pick Skipp purely because if you look at the overall, what we took the positives out of the team performance was epitomised by Skip. So you can look at the stats for Winks, actually incredible. I mean, his passing stats were outrageous. But I think if you look at what Leicester brought, the positives that they brought to the game last night, it was that. I didn't give it Macassa because I thought there were longer periods during yesterday's game than any of the other games where he was a little bit quiet and a bit kind of out of sorts, although his quality shone through, which is what great players do. They're quiet. Look at what Vardy did. He do nothing for, and then just pop up. So he's going to get many men of the matches. Or is it person of the matches these days? Player of the match or whatever. A load of crap. But no, I'm going to give it Skip. And what I said to Reece at the beginning of the season, he said, "Who's going to be your surprise package?" And I said, "It'll be Oliver Skip." And he went, "Don't talk shit." And I went, "I'm telling you." And I think I've been proved right.
Never undermined it. Telling you.
That's it.
That's what he's talking about. Don't be around the bush, Clibbo, make statements. I won't be proved wrong this season. Tell you what, though, Oliver Skip's had a fantastic season. He's really shown. And me and Dan discussed it the other night, didn't we, Dan, about Skip in the preview for Borough.
Yeah.
The only reason he gets a lot of criticism of a player is because of the price tag. And like we say, that's on the club. That's not on him as a player, but it's his ability to show that he wants to do the right things. And he's a proper championship midfielder. He'll dig in. He'll work hard. He'll play centre-back if you need to. Gary Rowett said that if we need Oliver Skip there, he'll play there. And Oliver Skip said the same. I'll play anywhere the manager wants to play me. So if it means putting him up front instead of Ayew, then hopefully he can run a lot more quicker. But I think he's been a surprise package this season for Leicester fans, Oliver Skip. I've certainly enjoyed it. I've certainly seen the goal against Derby and the overhead kick that he had in his life with Southampton. So he's took me by surprise this season, Skippy, and I have a lot more positives to talk about him in a great way. Thought Ricky stepped up last night, one of his better games. Who would you start at the weekend? We'll discuss that at the end, Phil. Put that back in the comments at the end, or I'll come and pick it back up. Let's talk about individual players then. I'll tell you what, we'll start with Begovic. Let's talk about Begovic. How good was he last night?
Yeah, extremely.
For me, go on, Dan.
No, I was just going to say, extremely good. Marshalled the back four well. That's been shown in the last two games. They've listened to him, and the bit, like I say, the biggest improvement, not just with what he's brought to the side, is his quicker distribution. It moves us up the pitch a lot quicker. Doesn't allow the opposition to get set in and settled and organised, and just brings that little bit of chaos and surprise that we've not done all season.
Yeah,
I think at this point of the season, in this particular type of situation, it's okay saying we need experience, but you need somebody who can use that experience. And he's not a flapper. He's using his experience well. He's marshalling his defence. He's continuously talking to them, guiding them. And I think at this stage of the season, where nerves can get very fragile very quickly, particularly with an early goal like the other day against Stoke, he's there. Yes, there are better keepers in the division, but are there better keepers in the division in the situation we're in? Probably not. And I think he demonstrated that with aplomb last night.
Agreed. I thought he had an exceptional game.
He's not afraid to lay into any of them at any time either. Because when he even had a pop at Ricky P last night when he weren't where he needed him to be, and gave him a slap on the backside and an earful on the way out as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Next one, Luke Thomas. See, this guy gets criticised a lot for his defensive attributes and that. last night I thought he had a very good game. I thought he defended really well, and I thought he positioned himself well at times, and he got out to Borough when he needed to. Obviously, he kept giving away the corners and that, which we dealt with. But I think it's one of his best defensive games last night as a player for me. Luke Thomas, what about you, Clibbo?
Well, I think it helps that we've got a left back who's our assistant manager.
Yeah.
And I've always said I personally believe that he's not a left back. He's a more of the old-fashioned wing back. I think he would have probably thrived under like Martin O'Neill or something like that. But I do think having Callum Davidson there, giving him pointers, I think we're going to have to pick him because we haven't got another left back. Luca's not a left back. VK's injured. We're going to have to stick with him, and we're going to have to support him, back him. I think at this stage, if we give him any more abuse, we are going to actually destroy the kid. Now, I know he's been at fault for quite a few goals, but so's Mavididi. He's not tracked back and not helped him.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of examples where Luke's picking up his man, but there's two other. The position of the centre backs is so piss poor that it's made him look bad. So listen, I support this guy wholeheartedly between now and the end of the season, and I'm not going to get on his case because I really don't think it's beneficial to get on his case right now. Because he tries. It's people like IU that piss me off.
Yeah,
they just stroll around.
Fair enough. Dan, two players I want to put at you. Ben Nelson and Caleb Bacola, the two centre-backs. See, I thought Ben Nelson had a very good game last night. Caleb Bacola had a good game despite giving that bloody ball away. But these two, I thought were solid.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's like what we spoke earlier. We said, with Bacola's goal, we all wanted this at the start of the season for this to be our pairing. It's now come to fruition. Have they been as good as what we hoped or thought they would be? Probably not, but they are getting better. And certainly these last, sort of game and a half under Rowett, they have improved a lot. Like I say, Nelson wasn't great Saturday, but he wasn't horrendous. But he was much, much better last night. And the pairing of them, they are getting a slightly better understanding with the more games that they play with one another. So if they can keep that going and just stop the silly little mistakes, there'll be a good partnership, all being well.
Agreed. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, we'll set the like target 60 likes tonight, so if we can do that, fantastic. Clibbo, Ricky P. I thought it was one of his better games this season, to be honest. He were in position. He stood. I think they brought Sarmiento on that side in the second half. Did really well, even though he probably looked like he'd been ran ragged in the game at times. But he showed his professionalism and his experience last night to defend well, and I thought he dug in quite well. Yeah,
a few times he was caught out of position again, I noticed. But here's my problem with our fullbacks. Apart from VK, our fullbacks are much more suited to kind of modern football. And pre-injury, I would label that at Ricky as well. I don't think Ricky's best attributes are defending. Now, what the problem we've got is now we're being more solid. He's asking the fullbacks to be left backs, just be left backs, and that's where I think the problems lie. And I think Ricky P is going to get injured. You can see it. He's going to get injured because he can't play 2 games a week.
No.
So keep swapping and changing that back four. I don't think is going to be beneficial. So for me, yes, he had one of his better games. Couple of nice bits of skill to get out of trouble in that corner, by the way. I thought I was impressed with that. and he was professional. But I still don't want him as in the starting lineup. I think he'd be a good backup, but I would still because basically Aluko is a younger, fresher, less injury-prone model, and I would rather spend the time working on him than somebody that's legs are going to break down, because the games are thick and fast now.
Yeah.
And at some point he'll get injured and Aluko will have to come in.
Yeah.
So that's my issue. And by the way, I've said it before, Ricky P is my favourite player, one of my favourite ever players at Leicester City, and he's my current favourite player at the club. I just don't think he's good enough anymore or reliable enough. But he did have his best game that I've seen for a long time.
Dan, Harry Winks.
Yeah, very good again.
Since he's come back in the team, he looks a lot more like he wants to do it, Dan. I don't know. We've sort of seen a mentality issue with Winksy off the pitch, but then on it, since he's come back in the team, he looks a lot more like he wants to play. He looks a lot more switched on, and he looks the player that we know he can be, and he's obviously helping out the team with obviously last night's performances were again. How good was Winksy last night next to Skippy?
Yeah, like I say, they were both very good last night. And he was good Saturday. So
Saturday,
he's very good at conducting the play for us and the tempo for us. He's very, and he can read the game well when he knows when we need to move it quickly, and he knows when we need a bit of a breather and we need to keep hold of the ball and play a bit. So he's helped players around him be better at the same time. Do I agree with all the other stuff that's gone on prior to it? No, I don't. But as I say, and we've said since he's come back, I don't really care as long as when he turns up on game day, he turns up and he plays.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it help the team. I'd just say does what he's meant to do. Does what he's paid for at the end of the day, and he's paid quite handsomely. So, but he is a cut above anything else in this league, and can pick passes, can read play, and can do what we need him to do right now. Like I say, defensively he's not great, but that's not really what he's in the team for. He's there to get us ticking. He's there to get us moving forward, and he does play the ball forward far more than what it goes backwards and sideways.
Yeah, if Winks wants to put himself in the shop window, I say let him.
Yeah,
it's true. If he wants to put himself in the shop window and get a move in the summer, which his contract comes to an end in the summer, and it helps him stay in the league.
Exactly that. If it's a benefit to both of us, I couldn't give a monkeys.
Evening, Ed. How are we, mate? Hope you're well. Welcome in. We're just discussing each individual performance last night from the team. So if you want to get involved, mate, and drop your comments in, fantastic. Oliver Skip, I think we've spoke quite highly regarding him. Really good on the ball, worked hard off the ball, and got stuck in last night, and they're exceptional. So we'll move Skippy on because we spoke about him a lot. Bobby D. Cordova-Reid came back into the team last night, Clibo. What's your thoughts on Bobby? I thought he did quite well.
Yeah, particularly the first half. I think he was quite industrious. He was holding that line. He was sticking to that. I mean, I don't particularly think that's his best position. So you have to take that into account. But he was trying to get forward with that ball, and I noticed that we were using him probably more than the other side, to be fair. I thought he did okay. I don't think he did anything special. It was an acceptable performance. It was certainly average. But I think he's going to have to work very hard to stay in the side. Ironically, I would use him because he's done it for Bristol, I would use him as the sub number 9. I definitely would, because let's be honest, terms of finishing this season, his has probably been the best.
Yeah.
Dan, Mr. Divine. I mean, he has been divine.
Yeah, he has.
Mr. Macassa, let's have a look at a few stats from last night. So I got 1 assist, 100% aerial duels won, 2 out of 2. 5 out of 9 ground duels won, 8 ball recoveries, 3 tackles, 7 passes into the final third, 4 defensive contributions. Divine Macassa. This guy is a baller, by the way, and I've enjoyed watching him play football in a Leicester City shirt. He's been fantastic, by the way, since coming in. He's scored his goals. He's really offered a lot to the team. He's a real team player, and he's been fantastic. And last night, again, I thought he was exceptional. I think he'd ran himself into the ground, though, like Daka, like Clibo reiterated earlier on about him and Daka had run themselves into the ground. But it shows that he brings a lot more to the team. And for a person that's not really played a lot of first-team football for Manchester City, only probably a handful of cup games, it looks like he has played a lot of in the men's team, and that hasn't he? You know, and he looks sharp, he looks good, and he's a good technical player as well. And talk to me about how good Macassa was last night against Middlesbrough.
Yeah, like I say, he's been absolute quality. He's been, he's been a shining light with what we've seen over these last few weeks. It's not just like you said in his stats there. It's not just him when he's on the ball and taking us forward as a team. It's also his urgency in wanting to win the ball back as well. That to me is a sign of a good player, that even when you try something and you give it away, I have no problem with that as long as you do what he's done, and that's go and try and win it back for us. And he does that a lot. Even one of his interceptions where we were pressing them as a side again, he does the sliding tackle, nicks it, it goes to Begovic. Okay, his finish wasn't one of his better ones, but still, it was the fact that he had that energy to go and squeeze and press the play, nick the ball back, and get us on the front foot. And that's again something else that we've been missing for so many games this season, where some of them just haven't been asked to. So
it's that desire, isn't it?
Yes.
Hunger.
It's a will to win. It comes from a winning mentality, or being part of a winning mentality, and what that's about. You can't. Yeah. Nothing will happen if you don't make it happen, and he certainly does that. Yeah. So I know I Saturday's game a lot, but as well as last night, but with his goal, he put it into an area that was going to cause people aside problems. Goalkeeping. Defenders don't want to be facing their own goal. That's why nobody wanted to touch that ball that went in for him against Stoke. It was the same last night, where he put that ball in
dangerous area,
such quality and such venom that Stoke players didn't want to go anywhere near it because they were too afraid that Middlesbrough players didn't want to go anywhere near it because they were too afraid that if they did and got it wrong, they're scoring an own goal. So, Caleb got himself into the right place, and one of our free kicks off the training grounds come off. So you can't sort of argue with that, really.
Clibo, Steffi Mavadidi.
Okay, I might be the only one that thinks this, but I think he worked harder. I think he tracked back a little bit more. I think he did a lot of running, but I think he made lots of very poor decisions, and actually stopped a lot of the creative work. It was, when it broke down, it was usually him on the end of it. Really crap passes or just wrong decisions. And I think he needed to come off a lot sooner than he did. I didn't think he was that great. I think his endeavour, his work rate was a bit better, but he didn't really affect the game in many positive ways. I don't want to be disparaging to the players too much at this point of the season. I can do that at the end, but
Yeah,
I didn't rate his performance last night, and I think he was one of the standouts in the wrong way.
Dan, Patson Daka.
Yeah, again,
I thought he ran his socks off last night, and he looked
absolutely.
like he wanted to work hard for the team.
Everything right apart from get his goal, and
Yeah, that header, he probably should have done a lot better with that.
Yes, it's one of those. Let's put it this way: if Uncle Ayew was up front, would he have even got into a position to have even got ahead on the ball to create that?
But if Daka maybe took a late bounce a little bit, and he could have even put it over the goalkeeper with his foot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly.
I think he just panicked in that situation. I just have to get on the end of this and hope for the best.
Well, exactly that. I mean, knowing Daka and his pace, he might have thought of perhaps not even getting quite as much on it as he did, and probably go and chase it down and stick it into an empty net. He only had the keeper to beat to nod it over, because there was no way Ayling was going to catch him if he'd done that. So, yes, he should have directed it a lot better, because he was outside the post and the ball's gone outside the post. Whereas, if he had just nodded it to that right hand side, he could well have come away with a goal one way or the other, whether it was going to go straight in or whether he's put enough angle on it to then get round the pair of them to stick it into an empty net like he did in his first goal against Southampton. But he's closing down, his work rate, he's putting the back line under pressure, not giving them a minute to think. He was really, really good at. And as much as he gets slagged off, and yes, his job is to score goals, let's not forget that. But he's always put people under pressure. It is, like I say, it's just his finishing ability. But hopefully, like what's been, the more games he plays, the more confidence he gets. The likes of Macassa, Abdul once he comes back as well, JJ once he comes back as well, perhaps might get him into those positions where if he ends up coming away with 5, 6, 7, 8 goals, could be very, very important to us, and get us where we need to be.
Craig agrees with you. Clibo, the four men then who come off the bench: Fatawu, Ayew, Aribo, Louis Page. I'll tell you what, we'll start. I'll tell you what, you can go through each individual player if that's what you want to do. Tell us what you think of how each one of them performed.
Fatawu, I was a little bit disappointed, if I'm honest. I thought he kind of flattered to deceive a little bit. He was full of running. But again, I mean, there was a few times where he was trying to do that, flick it over and run past. And there I can't remember what their player's name was, but it just blocked him out of the way. Yeah, it was just blocked him out of the way. And it was just, come on, mate, you've got to. I know that there's more in there. There's better tricks that you've got, but there's just something, I don't know. Occasion. I mean, then he ghosted past 2 players like they weren't there at one point around the 18-yard area, and I think to myself, just cut down the amount of stupid shit you do, and be a lot more progressive, because there is a player in there. But for me, he's not been anywhere near the standard this year. And when he came on, I wasn't expecting a lot from him, and I kind of wasn't disappointed. I thought he made some nice things going forward, but it's the consistency thing for me with him. I just hope that he's got behind this manager, because I think he'll be very important for us, particularly with the other wing being a bit weak at the minute.
Yeah.
It was a bit of an average performance for me. Who were the others?
Rebo and Page.
Ayew I've spoke about, and I'm not going to speak about anymore.
Move on to the other two.
Page, I mean, he didn't have a lot of time to do very much, did he? To be honest with you, I mean, he was steady Eddie.
He was only on for 6 minutes, so can't. And playing out of position because he played out on the left, didn't he? So.
Yeah, and then who else was the last one?
Rebo.
Joe Rebo.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I think he was in on for that last 15 minutes, 14 minutes or something like that. He's a solid player. He's a solid player, and someone I think that needs integrating into the team. But he went out. He was playing out left, wasn't he?
Yeah, he started out there. Then when Page come on, he moved into the centre.
Yeah,
he tried to do the same thing as he did against Stoke, where he's just like, where we were just getting a little bit ragged. He stuck somebody in there to plug a hole, basically.
Yeah. But like I say, I think there is room for him in the side. I trust he'll have a good game when he plays. There's just something about him. I don't know an awful lot about him. All I've heard is people slagging him off. I watched a little bit when he was at Rangers, but I've not seen anything really of him at Southampton. So I don't judge him from that, because we know a lot of players have bad times at clubs. What I've seen of him so far, he's going to be very handy around that squad. He doesn't look like you should be pissing him off. I should imagine he could probably give you a nice thick ear.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Page had a very good moment up front and set Thomas up for the shot. That should have been better. Agreed. Southampton fans would have driven him to Leicester. Yeah. But like you say, it works out at some clubs and not others.
We said that about JJ to Leeds, and look how he's performing for Leeds.
Well, this is it. Us fans say a lot of things, and then it probably works out.
Sometimes you're at a club too long, and you just need to get out of there.
Exactly. Like I say, in regards to Rebo,
he's a fresh.
Whether he's started or whether when he's come on, he's never he's never caused an issue or done something stupid where you're going, what are we bringing him on for? Anything like that. He's been solid. Again, Saturday probably should have done better and scored the goal, but under the circumstances, this is it. He's, as I say, he's been steady. He doesn't do anything silly. He's been pretty reliable with wherever he's been lobbed into. On 2 occasions out of position. So you can't say fair.
It's exactly what this team needs right now, is someone like that. No big Billy bollocks is, fancy tricks. There's no time for that right now.
Right, boys. Phil asks, who would you start with at the weekend? I don't know if Phil's still here, but I started his comments, so I didn't miss it. Who would you start at the weekend? Let's go through the team. Begovic has got to start, hasn't he? The back four, I don't think you can really change it, can you? I know Gary Rowett.
I think he will change it, because that'll be three games in a week for Ricky. I don't think he'll do that.
So would you bring a Luco in then?
Yes.
Clippo, at right back?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Midfield.
I don't think you can change it.
No.
Same. Yeah.
As long as everybody's fit and healthy, I don't think, like I say, I don't think there's much you would change. To be fair, from the starting 11, I think the only potential change will be Abdul for Bobby.
That's what
I think so.
Mavadidi out left and Abdul out right.
Yeah.
Same side apart from Ricky P. Yeah, I'm all for that. Here's a question for you. If you think about the substitutes bench, given that now Rowett has seen Ayew in his full peacock feathers. Do you think he will be on the bench? I don't think he'll start, but do you think he'll be even on the bench?
He'll be on the bench.
I would use Bobby as the centre forward.
I don't disagree with that, but I think he will. I think he will, because I think they'll still have the thought that he can waste time.
Agreed.
They seem to think of him holding it and getting it into corners and stuff like that. But I like what you said, Clibo. I couldn't argue with that at all. I think Bobby should be.
Bobby up top would be something different. It would offer a lot
different, and he's definitely got a similar work rate to what Daka does. He just doesn't have a physical presence.
The players that work hard.
Yeah, that's it. And that at the end of the day, that's what we need. We can't carry the likes of Ayew. We're just not in a place to be able to carry lazy people like that.
Fair enough. Right, the subs bench, when you get all your injuries back though, like your Jordan James, Vestergaard, I think we've got. Would you say a solid bench to work with, Clibo, with Gary Rowett? You'll have Lascelles as well in there, so you'll have a lot more to offer, I think.
Yeah, you'll have people that are not in the squad that you might go, oh, I thought they'd have been on, which is a luxury that we've not really had. I think it's just ironic that our best players have been, or the most skilled players are the ones that have come in on loan, and they're all bloody injured. It just sod's law, really, isn't it? Is it the Seagrave strike again? But, I mean, if we get them back, the problem that I've got is I don't think to solidify the defence, you are going to take, to get that right initially in the short term, you're going to take away from the attack, because all the training will be concentrated on that to get that right. And I don't think at the minute, as an attacking threat, we're much of a threat, because let's face it, we're not going to score nice, intricate passing goals every week. They tend to be, all right, that was a set piece. Agreed. Or a really good shot from Fatou. They all seem to be like worldies, or not so much team goals. And I think you can't rely on worldies. So up top, I think we're going to struggle. I think
that's our main issue. The front sort of the striker position.
Well, we've not got a clean sheet in 28 games now, so that has to be addressed, because you're not going to win a game if you're conceding goals. We haven't got the Newcastle side that scored more than everybody else. We haven't got that attacking threat. So, and let's face it, if Daka gets injured, we don't have a striker.
Fair enough. Right, I've got two questions for you both. I'm going to put you both on the spot with these, actually. So the comments have been on about it, about when Jordan James is fit, who plays? Go. I'm going to let you both pick your midfield here. I know you both could go different on this, but it's a big question, and this is why I wanted to leave it till last. So Jordan James is 100% fit.
Yeah.
Who comes out for Jordan James? Who's going to be playing in that midfield? Dan, I'll let you go first on it, because Clibo was a bit puff of the cheeks. It's a big question to sort of think about.
Yeah, it is, and it's not a particularly easy one to answer because of how the two have come back and played together. But it would still be Winks. Winks drops out for JJ, for me personally, because not just because of how well Skip's played, but not. Excuse me. But he's going to be here next season. Winks is not. So why piss off your player that's going to be with you next season, regardless?
Well, he might not be here JJ might not be here next season.
JJ and Macassa.
Yeah, is possibly unlikely, but I'd still take what JJ brings over what Winks brings us.
I think
Clibo.
I've got a real issue with Winks, and I have done for some time. But if he's going to be in the side and there's nothing I can do to influence that or any of the other fans, then I want to see him play well. If he plays like he did last night, and if you look at the stats, they are outstanding. You can't really take him out of the side. But if you are going to take somebody out of the side, then it's going to be Winks.
See, I forgot about Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, I think we should forget about Aaron Ramsey because he's not getting back in the side.
No, I don't think so either. Not now. No.
Unless something happens to him, that's the only way he gets in the side.
See, I kind of think that Oliver Skipp's undroppable at this point. I think Macassa in that number 10 role is undroppable at this point. It's just between Skip and James to revert to each other. So, Winks and James, Ramsey, I don't see getting back in. Right, I'm going to put the last question to you now. Leicester City take on Norwich at the weekend. Leicester City haven't won since January again when we played West Brom. Will the 3 points finally be coming home on Saturday, boys? And I want your score prediction for it as well. Clean sheet?
No.
I thought I'd test it.
Yeah. I think we'll win, and I think it'll be the same score as it was at their place, 2-1.
2-1. Lovely. Clibbo?
I'm going to go for the same scoreline, 2-1. I don't think we're at clean sheet level just yet. I think that's going to take a few more games yet. 2-1. Scorers. I'm going to go Daka.
Yeah.
And Macassa.
What about you, Dan?
Depending on who's playing, I'm going to say Daka and Abdul.
Tell you what, I'm going to go with Paul. I'll sit 2-0.
2-0. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet.
This hoodoo's got to change at some point, and I think if they can get a clean sheet, this will give them even more of a confidence boost going into the big game against Ipswich next weekend. So the canary feathers be all over the place at full time. Lovely. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go Macassa to score, and I'm going to go Abdul to score. So I'm going to go 2-0. I've bloody given it away before the predictions tomorrow, but it is what it is. Thanks to you both for coming on. Dan, Clibbo, appreciate your time. Hope everyone else has joined it as well. If you have, hit that like button for us. Let's get to 60 likes on this. If you're watching this on playback, let us know your thoughts on the Middlesbrough game, your team ahead of the weekend. Who does Jordan James replace in this team in the midfield? Subscribe to the channel as well. Go and check out the Matchday vlog as well. That's out on the channel. Massive points at the Riverside. I was happy. I was all gleaming at full-time like we bloody won at the Riverside. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Have a great rest of the evening, wherever you're up to. And we'll catch you tomorrow for the championship predictions. Up the Foxes.